All right, hi everybody. It's 1:40 a.m. here in Washington, D.C. I've been here for a couple of hours now. It's been a lot of fun. A lot of people just showing up out of the blue, coming by. As I mentioned in the last little post, people are bringing cookies. The 9/11 firefighters sent us some pizza, courtesy of those guys up in New York City. So shout out to all you guys out there. You guys have just been the best the whole way. Love our 9/11 firefighter guys, man. You really paved the way, and we're trying really hard to follow up in your footsteps. But thanks for that pizza, man. It was great. And I want to introduce my new friend Mason. Come on in, Mason.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
So Mason has an interesting story of how he came to be here on the Capitol steps with us tonight. Mason, tell us your story.
Yeah, so I'm here. My firm works with one of the people here that was at the press conference earlier today for advocating for toxic exposure and the PACT Act and trying to get that passed here. And it's just been super eye-opening to see kind of this advocacy side and all the work that Burn Pits 360 is doing and all the amazing folks here. I mean, it's almost 2 a.m. and we're here at the U.S. Capitol lobbying and trying to get the Senate to pass this legislation that will help so many veterans and is super important and something that should have happened a long time ago. And so it's super awesome to be here and to be a part of this. I mean, this is history. So
yeah, and so Mason was actually come up here on this business trip for his client, who's a friend of ours through Burn Pits 360, and they were not anticipating this. This was when they originally intended to come up here. I think the idea was, correct me if I'm wrong, Mason, you guys were coming up for a celebratory press conference and getting this bill passed. And tell us a little bit about your experience of what happened today.
Yeah, so we get here. Well, yesterday we find out that 25 Republicans flipped their vote, and now we're holding up the PACT Act. And so what was supposed to be a glorious celebration of helping veterans across the country turned into really a lot of fear and anger, rightfully so, from our veterans here who literally need this legislation to survive. We heard about a veteran who, committed suicide when he found out that this was delayed. And so there are real impacts.
And that's a real thing, man. I don't know. I won't go so far as to say it's a major component of the 22 a day of veterans that kill themselves that everybody's become, unfortunately, all too familiar with as time has rolled on from this 20-year global war on terror. But I think that this issue has a collateral effect that does contribute to that. This is it's slow torture. A lot of these guys are dying a slow and tortured death, at the hands of the VA. And it's not like the VA is just out to get them. It's just we're just that broken. We're just that inefficient. And so, yeah, I heard that story today too, Mason, and it was tragic. It just really gets in your guts when you hear stuff like that.
Well, and it's frustrating because, Washington has a rep for playing politics, and this is a great example of our legislators playing politics with our veterans' lives.
Yeah,
and literally risking the lives of the people who protected this country, who fought for us and gave up whatever it was they were doing, left their families, left their kids. I mean, my dad didn't even get to see his second son born, and these people sacrifice everything for us, and the least we can do is provide them with the care that they need to survive. And our legislators are putting politics above people, and the real cost of that is people's lives, veterans' lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't take out from St. Louis till about 3:30 this afternoon. I guess I started trying to make my way here, so I missed all of the excitement and going around from office to office. You got to experience that firsthand. Can you tell me a good story? What was the best story of the day from that experience?
What I thought was so cool is we've got all the Burn Pit 360 folks, all these veterans and veteran advocates in this room together, kind of brainstorming, and then all of a sudden, Jon Stewart walks in and is just so confident, super smart, and just leading the charge for this fight. Just so glad to have him in our corner. So glad to have him advocating here. And it's funny. At one point, the Capitol Police were called on us, and they're kind of kicking us out of these offices and whatnot. And somebody's like, "We gotta get Jon on the phone." And I tell you what, this police officer had to explain himself to Jon Stewart because he was not having that. So I just thought it was a great example of what can happen when,
Yeah.
people with a following and people who are well known put their full weight behind an issue. I mean, we've seen more press coverage for this issue than he's ever seen, really. And so I just think it shows what happens when a collective voice comes together for the good of veterans.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Mason. And
Yeah.
you guys heard it here first from Mason. Turns out that the very top of the pecking order in the Washington, D.C. Police Department, at least at the Capitol side, happens to be Jon Stewart. and he must be late to the party, because I'm pretty sure that if Jon Stewart would have been running the Capitol Hill Police on January 6th, we wouldn't have this crazy-ass J6 committee nonsense going on right now.
I
You know what I'm saying?
guarantee it.
Right? He'll get business done. All right, everybody. Thanks. We'll check in again in a little while. Thanks.
Thanks, y'all.